Learn English through story, navigating cultural nuances, real-life English conversations. When learners venture beyond textbooks and enter the realm of authentic communication, they often discover that the most challenging aspect of English is not grammar or vocabulary, but navigating subtle cultural nuances that shape how meaning is conveyed. The first complexity many individuals encounter arises from differences in conversational rhythm. In some cultures, a direct response is valued as a sign of clarity and confidence. In others, indirect phrasing is used to demonstrate respect, diplomacy, or emotional sensitivity. For a learner, misinterpreting these cues can lead to unintended misunderstandings, creating the impression of being either too abrupt or overly hesitant. Another challenge involves decoding implicit messages. Native speakers frequently rely on tone, pauses, or understated expressions to communicate disagreement or discomfort. Phrases such as, "I'm not sure that's the best idea," or "perhaps we could try something else" may sound neutral or even polite, yet they often carry a firm refusal. Without an awareness of such conventions, learners may interpret these statements literally, assuming everything is agreeable when, in reality, the opposite is true. Furthermore, many real-life interactions require the ability to shift registers seamlessly. A conversation with a colleague demands a different linguistic tone from a discussion with close friends or a formal conversation with a supervisor. These contextual shifts involve adjusting vocabulary, sentence structure, and even the level of emotional openness. Mastery of these transitions reflects not only linguistic competence but also sociocultural intelligence. Another significant cultural nuance centers on the use of humor, which varies dramatically across English-speaking societies. Sarcasm, irony, and self-deprecating humor are common, yet they can be baffling to learners who expect literal meaning. A phrase like, "Well, that went brilliantly," delivered after a clear failure, is not praise but a humorous critique. Understanding such linguistic inversions requires not only vocabulary knowledge but also awareness of tonal cues, social context, and shared assumptions among speakers. In addition, conversational turn-taking differs widely across cultures. In some societies, overlapping speech is seen as a sign of enthusiasm. In others, it is perceived as interruptive or disrespectful. English-speaking cultures generally value measured pacing, allowing each person to complete their thought before another begins. Learners unfamiliar with these expectations may seem overly assertive or unexpectedly passive, depending on how they naturally manage conversational flow. Another cultural nuance involves politeness strategies. English often employs softening devices such as conditional forms, "could you possibly?" hedging, "it seems like," and modal verbs, might, would, may, to reduce the impact of a request or disagreement. These linguistic buffers convey humility and consideration, particularly in professional settings. Learners who rely on direct phrasing from their first language may unintentionally appear demanding, even when their intentions are entirely respectful. Equally significant is the cultural approach to personal boundaries. While some speakers welcome emotional openness, others expect conversations to remain measured and composed. As learners progress, they encounter yet another sophisticated nuance: the interplay between assertiveness and diplomacy. English-speaking cultures often value clarity, yet they also expect tactfulness. A statement such as, "I disagree," may be softened to, "I see your point, but I have a slightly different perspective." This layered phrasing protects interpersonal harmony while still expressing a firm stance. Mastering these balances empowers learners to advocate for themselves without appearing confrontational. Another advanced cultural element is the expectation of active listening. Nodding, giving verbal affirmations like, "I see," "that makes sense," or "right," and maintaining appropriate eye contact demonstrate engagement. In some languages, silence may serve as a sign of deep respect. In many English-speaking contexts, however, silence can be misinterpreted as disinterest or confusion. Developing active listening skills helps learners convey attentiveness and build trust. Moreover, real-life English conversations often require the ability to navigate ambiguity. Native speakers frequently use vague language, sort of, kind of, a bit, maybe, to avoid sounding overly rigid. This imprecision softens statements and preserves flexibility within dialogue. For learners accustomed to highly direct expressions, this intentional vagueness may be perplexing, yet it represents an essential cultural tool for maintaining social harmony. Another crucial nuance is the cultural importance of autonomy and respect for personal choice. Statements like, "It's totally up to you," or "whatever works best for you," indicate deference to the listener's preferences. Learners unfamiliar with this value may misinterpret such phrases as indifference, rather than the polite empowerment they are intended to convey.